Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Dungeons and Dopamine. Ta-da!
Hello, and welcome to Dungeons and Dopamine. I'm Bre.
I'm Jess.
And this is episode 34.
No.
No. It is not. Jessica said. Because we're in the 60s. It still took, I was like, but it is. No, it's not.
We celebrated our year and
then we went back to re-record episode 34. And now I'm going to look up what episode 34
I saw you
been.
pick up your phone like that and was like, she's going to look this up. We need to know.
It's important. We
I wonder
cannot
if
move
I
on
could
without
just
it.
off the cuff do episode 34. Like, depending on the topic, I wonder if I could.
Let's see.
Let's.
34 was better than the plague. Resolutions and a missing
A missing person.
So the answer is no. We could not redo episode 34.
I remember 2 of my missing persons cases, and the third one is a mystery.
Because they're missing.
It's missing everywhere.
Do you remember? So, can the title of this episode be better than episode 34?
Absolutely. So you had said you had a thing.
Yes. So, I have a new trend that I think I've noticed, and I want your thoughts on it.
Okay, I'm here. I'm ready to thought.
This started, I don't remember what business it was. I think they're not local. I think they're like Michigan wide. And they posted a post. It was long and drawn out with a video of an angry customer. And the whole post was like calling this guy out and, you treated our waitress poorly and you're not allowed back here and blah, 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 blah. And specifically referenced like he left a bad review, like he's not welcome back.
Right.
So I drama, whatever. I get drawn into it and I read it and then something tickled my brain. And so I went to this page and looked at their reviews, which were now all 5-star reviews within the last 2 days from all these people that had flooded their page.
And probably never been to their establishment.
And there was no sign anywhere of any bad reviews. It made me wonder, and I think I've seen it a couple times, how many companies are using social media to portray something bad happening to them so that they will get more action and more followers and more good reviews on their business page. I think it's happening all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting thought. And I've been drawn into stuff like that before, too. And I think I actually know exactly what you're talking about, what you're referring to. And I've seen these things. Like a lady who yelled at some employees at, like, an ice cream shop or a soda shop or something. Like smoothies or something. Whatever. And the girl working there yells at her, "You're a grown woman. I'm a teenager. Like, what the hell?" And, of course, later on, here comes the owner of the shop and says, "Oh, I always back my employees. She had every right, blah, blah, blah. Grown women don't need to be treating children like that," and yada, yada, yada. And, like, why? It also kind of, I don't know, I feel like this might be kind of changing the temperature of this. But should we be posting this stuff online at all?
Right.
I do understand. Like, these things make me irate. You do not yell at teenage girls who work in an ice cream shop. By the way, I've been there. I lived. I worked in an ice cream shop. People are psycho. They suck.
And we know, I mean, anybody that's worked in retail
Oh, absolutely.
has dealt with a bad customer.
And people you can't make happy. No matter what you would have done, they would have been unhappy. I'd have loved to have put some of my horrible people on blast when I worked in retail, just straight up, but is it actually justice to do that?
Right.
Yeah, their behavior should be called out. Yeah, they should not get away with it. But I don't need 25,000 internet warriors showing up at my door or sending me pizzas or death threats or ruining my child's reputation or bullying my kid or kicking my dog.
Right.
Because I had a bad day. And a lot of these people, in my opinion, have severe mental illness.
Yes. That and it can ruin lives. If it goes viral, people are being fired for conversations they had on the weekend or something that happened on the weekend. And to one extent, you have to deal with the consequences of your actions.
Right, yes.
But to the other extent, is it really necessary that the consequences of your actions turned into a viral Facebook post where you are now hated by 25,000 people that you don't even know because you had a bad day?
I've seen a lot of... Okay, so it's a video taken, over your shoulder of a guy sitting in an airplane seat next to a woman, and it says, "Is this your husband?" If it is, he's going to see charity this weekend when he's supposed to be on a business trip. One, how do I know that's true?
Right.
If I'm the wife, how do I know that's true? How do I know it's not? But how do I know that's true and you're not just trying to cause some shit?
Right.
Also, maybe that relationship isn't good. Not that it gives anybody the right to cheat. Don't take me wrong, but
and who
you don't know.
And you don't know it in a reverse situation, if you called out a woman who was doing something like that and it got back to her husband, what if she's in an abusive relationship
and he
beats her up because of this Facebook post?
Yeah.
And kind of going back to, are they doing it for likes? Are they doing it for reviews? I know it's like a huge thing on Reddit. Everybody thinks every story is fake because they're only doing it for the Reddit karma or whatever.
Yep.
So, but on Reddit, you're still kind of anonymous. You don't do that. You can't do that on Facebook or Instagram, where everything is attached to your personal profile and your face.
Yep.
So it's different getting Reddit karma, going viral on Reddit and getting Reddit karma is very different than going viral on Facebook or Instagram, where something is actually connected to your face. Your Facebook tells people where you live, where you hang out, who your friends are, and we're just shaming people on the internet.
Right.
And now we don't know, okay, so this company that posted this story and this video, maybe it was true or maybe it wasn't. And we don't even know the whole story. And now this guy is hated in public because this place needed some action
business
on their Facebook page and some fresh reviews.
And then you have those stories where you're getting the middle of, I'm going to use this phrase, Karen freaking out at the cash register or outside of a business, and she's throwing rocks and screaming and she's threatening to beat everybody up. We don't see that the person recording actually just picked on her and kicked her puppy, and now she's freaking out.
Right.
Well deserved. Not that you should ever throw rocks.
Or did she have a mental break?
Yes.
Is she having the worst day of her life? And sorry that the cashier got the brunt of it, but maybe she's going to come back in a day and be like, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I found out that morning that my husband was cheating on me and he cleared my bank account out. Yeah. And now I'm at the grocery store and I thought I have $10 to my name and I thought I was going to be able to get what I needed and it rang up wrong. It's supposed to be on sale and it's not. And so now I just screamed at this cashier.
Because I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to eat that night with my kids.
And I'm devastated and my life is in ruins. And it was just what's that saying? The straw that broke the camel's back. And it sent me into a rage. And
everyone's been there.
Lost my brain. And now I'm on social media and my business is ruined, my career, my life.
So... Actually, now that we've talked through that topic, we're doing something weird today.
Yay!
We're calling it Round Ryan. Which sounds way more insulting than it should.
Right.
So this is going to be a round robin of topics. But they're topics that Ryan randomly generated for us, and we have not seen until now. We each have a different set of questions, topic starters, whatever. We don't know what they are. We haven't seen them yet, and we are going to set an alarm for 2 minutes each time. Okay, so since you host this episode, why don't you start? And I guess that means I have to answer. So I guess it really doesn't, like, it's not anything special. You're not special.
Fine. Just go then. You can just have the podcast by yourself.
My question was, what is the meanest thing you could say right now? We're going to find out this is all just for Ryan to tear us apart. He's like, no, this friendship is too close.
I'm
I don't like it.
so sick of this podcast. How do I end it?
I want my Tuesday nights back. All right. So should I have you read it and then I'll hit start?
Yes.
Okay.
And are we going in? We're just picking, right? I don't have to go in
Yeah,
order.
that's fine. You don't have to go in order.
We'll start with an easy one.
Uh-oh. Okay.
What is your favorite joke to tell?
My favorite joke. You'll know this. You're very familiar with this
It's
joke.
gonna be the same as mine.
My favorite joke to tell is actually not mine either. It's Christina's. And it is, two peanuts were walking through a parking lot. One was assaulted. It's so funny that it's so stupid.
That is also my favorite joke to tell, so...
I do have a favorite joke that I like to tell little kids.
Okay.
And it is, why was Tigger looking in the toilet? To find poo. And it slays, especially with little boys.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to go home and talk on to that one.
It's really dumb. I've known it for, I don't even know where I learned it, but I've known it for years. I used it on my little cousins when they were little boys. And I mean, they're still boys, but they're not little anymore. And it always is a hit with kids who know who Tigger and Pooh are.
Right,
So.
that's true.
What's something you're looking forward to? That's it.
The election's being over because I get to quit my job.
Yay!
I will no longer be a clerk as of November 21st. I have
amazing.
2 people running for my job.
Nice.
So I have options. I don't have options. The voters have options.
Yeah, voters have options.
And I don't have to do it anymore.
And I bet if you, for some reason, decided at the very end that you did need to do it, you'd win. Because they know you. Let's see. Am I looking forward to Disney World?
Duh.
Duh. That's not even hard.
Yeah. If you could invent something, what would it be? And why?
I'm going to go with a lame, safe answer. I would create something that folded the laundry for me.
That would be amazing.
I don't even care if it puts it away. I just wanted to fold it and put it on hangers for me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I could say something cool like, I would create something that would grow food for the world and create safe and great drinking water.
Well, I would say I would create a pill that had all of your daily calories and nutrients in it that you could just take. But it's absolutely for selfish reasons. It's so that I don't have to stop and eat because it's very frustrating to me. It's very inefficient, so I hate eating. And, ADHD meds that ruin my appetite.
Right.
Not for any good reasons like solving world hunger. Because the first time I was like, this is stupid. I hate not being hungry. I wish there was just a pill I could have. I was like, oh, why hasn't anybody invented that yet? That would be so cool. And I was like, well, because it would solve world hunger.
In grocery stores and restaurants would collapse. I think I wouldn't take it during vacation, though. I wouldn't want to. I'm cool when I go somewhere and everybody feeds me all day. Mm-hmm. Aw, this one's nice. So, by the way, also, I gave Ryan some vague guidelines, and it looks as though he's decided to just find out about us.
Yep.
Not anything that we actually have to think about, which I might appreciate. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll give him like a...
We could do this again.
Round Professor Ryan.
Yeah, where it could be just
Professor
random
Round Ryan?
topics, and we try to talk about them
Yeah.
with just knowledge that we have.
And I had given him difficult guidelines like no politics, religion.
Fair.
Things that get people riled up and excited. We didn't want to talk about those because we're trying to dopamine everyone, not just either side or...
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the question.
Yes.
What's something you're grateful for?
You.
Aww. What's something you're really grateful for?
You. Mostly because you do all the work to keep us going, and I just show up and sit on your couch. And
The room is hot.
It is hot in here. So
But-
I'm also grateful for your air conditioner that we
When
run
it's
in between episodes. And it's been a rough couple weeks, but being here and like recording the episodes always takes it's like a restart.
It is, and it feels like you don't. Not that I don't want to hang out with you, but sometimes it's hard to like topic and get mentally prepared to talk about our topics because they're pretty. I mean, they're educational topics that we've got to be articulate about.
Be preparation involved,
and so it can be hard to get the motivation to do it. But once we're here, I always have a really good time, and I always like. When you leave, I'm always happier than when you go.
Yeah, and it's hard. Like
when you leave, I'm happier than when you got here.
I'm just like, yeah, that's absolutely.
It's completely logical.
I think part of it is because we always do this like after the workday, which obviously because we're busy on the weekends, so it's hard to do that. That almost makes it harder because I'm at work all day and I'm like, I don't just get to go home after this. I have to go to Jessica's and record, and it's going to be a late night. And then I get here and I laugh like 3 times, and I'm like, oops, good, I forgot to go home until 10 o'clock.
I'm not sorry about that. It's everybody's fault. Yeah,
you don't have to be grateful for me.
I'm grateful for you.
Because I have to be.
I'm grateful. Let me think beyond like family and friends and like obviously I'm grateful for all that.
I'm grateful for nothing.
Nothing's coming to mind.
That is the downside to these questions. We are not good
We're not
at
on
thinking
the
of things
spot,
on the spot.
Oh, I am grateful for medical staff who listens.
Yay!
I have just in the last, I've surpassed our 2 minutes,
That's
but
fine.
I guess I have in the last few weeks gotten like the full gambit of medical stuff that has been plaguing me for 38 years validated. I can't say fixed yet, but like validated
but
and listened to.
Working towards fixing those.
I haven't heard everybody your age wants that, or you have this, but there's really nothing we can do about it from any of my medical providers lately.
Or it's all in your head, you're just anxious.
Yes, yes. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the show, but my ADHD wasn't originally diagnosed as ADHD. It was originally diagnosed as anxiety, which is true. I absolutely have anxiety.
I have a lot of anxiety over all the things I can't do because of my ADHD
exactly,
as well.
And the shortcomings it gives me in many aspects of my life that make things so much more complicated.
Why is it so much harder for me to do my work?
Why don't I remember the things that I'm supposed to remember? Yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
Real doctors.
I love
that
ADHD,
listen.
but yes, it's been incredible.
This is probably going to go over 2 minutes.
Okay.
I like this one.
All right.
If you could design your ideal home, what would it look like? I mean, we're going to have to do basics.
Yes. So, all right. Yes. So, I've never thought of this before.
Never.
I would be on a wooded beach plot of land.
Ooh.
So my house you wouldn't be able to see it from the road. You'd have to go down a long wooded driveway, and that would basically be my front yard. And then when you got into my house and looked out the very enormous windows that are the entire back of my house, you would see the lake. Whatever lake, as long as I could swim in it, I'd be happy with it. There would also be an infinity pool. And a balcony. The house inside would have a loft. I like that you go upstairs and you look out and you see over the living room kind of thing. Obviously, that would not be a bedroom like it is in some homes, but my bedroom might be off of that, or layout, pending my brain and my needs at the time. Would have a lot of space for entertaining. Would have a great outdoor space. Obviously, if you're by the lake, you're going to have it. But fire area, just pizza oven outside, all of the cool entertaining stuff. And no one would be able to tell it was there. and no one would be able to get to it. Wait, what?
There would be a gate and
that's-
armed guards.
I would also love space for animals, but I mean, in my dream situation, I'm very, very wealthy, and so someone else takes care of the goats and horses and pigs and cows that I have, but I get to ride them. Not the horses. What? No, only the I only ride the pigs, the chickens. I mean, if they're good enough to take you to the Grand Canyon, they're good enough to ride in the woods, okay?
It's probably true. I'm having a problem with this episode because I forgot how incredibly alike we are. I mean, part of me knew that, but I do feel like we have a lot of differences. Like,
yeah.
we're not. I have another best friend that I am very much alike, and like we're on the same wavelength all the time. But I feel like you and I have always kind of balanced each other.
Yes, I agree.
Except in this cover, because that is almost exactly my house. I don't necessarily want to be on a beach, but I do want to.
Fair enough.
I'm already in the middle of the woods. I would never give that up. Lots of animals with staff to take care of them because I'm going to be busy traveling. So
obviously, yeah.
I just want to be able to enjoy the animals when I'm home,
Right,
not work on them.
Yeah.
Great big, like open, great room, kind of like what we have now, but like double the size, with a great big kitchen that Zach can cook in, not for me, just for Zach.
Right, right.
I would probably have like a regular living room, great room situation, because I would obviously have a fantastic library room somewhere. I have thought like a loft.
I love
with the
that,
library.
yeah.
So that I can still look out my big giant picture windows that you mentioned, and see and kind of be around everybody while I was still holed up in my book hoarding library. And then my library would have a second secret library where I would go to like get away from everybody.
Does
like,
your library include a window seat with the big cushions and
of
stuff
course,
that you can sit in?
Basically
to
a
read?
nest that
Yes.
I can lay in to read my books.
Like in Fiji, I've never been to Fiji. I've just seen photos of those huts that have the net that hangs out over the water. Mm-hmm. Be like that, but
that would be awesome.
I would absolutely put a foam pit or a ball pit in my house. I'm just realizing this now, but like I was like, maybe you could put it over a ball pit, and then I was like,
and you just
yeah,
jump in.
you could. That's
or like the
a great
foam they have at all the
idea.
trampoline places now.
Yes.
And you wouldn't have to be grossed out by it because it would be
Exactly,
your
you wouldn't
own
find a
foam.
Band-Aid on it.
Mm-hmm. And if you did, it would be yours.
I have a horrible Band-Aid thing. I don't know if you remember that at all.
Yeah.
I hate Band-Aids. Anyway, not on me, but once they're off.
And then, like, our room, we'd have a big primary ensuite with, like, the over-the-top bathroom with a soaking tub. And,
with the
of
rain
course, more
shower.
views. And you could see outside and plants everywhere and sun everywhere. And the kid room would be on the other side of the house.
Yep. So we did go over a little on that,
Yes.
but that was a great question.
That was a great question.
Oh, I could think
Good
about
job,
that all
Ron
day.
Ryan. And
Good
this
job,
whole
Ron Ryan.
episode is just us talking about dream houses.
Oh, yes. All right. If you could live any fictional character's life, whose would it be and why?
Oh. But there are so many.
I know. I immediately think of Aylin, but I don't want to go through all the hard stuff she goes through. I just
like
want
when she got to live the happily ever after.
Yeah,
with
Rowan.
Rowan. And have babies. And
exactly.
be a queen.
Maybe Lysandra, because she can turn into an animal, which I always wanted that.
I've always just wanted to live in the Shire.
Oh,
But like
yeah.
post Sauron Shire,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
everything's
yeah.
just calm and like Samwise Gamgee and I can raise our little hobbit babies together.
Sure, yeah. I always wanted to be an elf.
Fair.
Be
Fair.
sorry.
I mean, you're basically halfway there anyway. So
Yeah. Dang it.
my short stature just points me towards the hobbits.
I need to grow a little.
And really, now that I've watched Ring of Power, I'm really more of a Harfoot.
Absolutely.
Like a transient living in the woods situation, not necessarily.
Not
I just like
finding
vacation
wizards
in the
and-
Shire.
Sure.
It'd be like
Yeah,
my summer home.
Right. I think Sam would be okay with that.
Yeah, he's an adventurer. He knows.
Yeah, he knows now. Yeah, I think you got this. I
Didn't realize that Samwise Gamgee was my Lord of the Rings love. But it makes sense now that I'm older.
All right, I'm thinking. I can't come up with a really great one, but to be completely honest, something really basic. I don't want to have exciting anything. I don't want to be like almost murdered.
Right.
I don't want to solve anything unless it's easy. So
yeah,
like,
all of my happily ever or all of it's like that Nevermore bookstore series that we read.
Yes.
It would like I want to own a bookstore and retire that way.
Absolutely, and like handsome characters that come alive in the bookstore. Yeah. Okay, sure.
There's a series by Nora Roberts, which is the only Nora Roberts series I've ever read. The Circle trilogy, maybe? I think the first one is Becoming, and it's about a girl, I think she's our age or maybe a little younger, and finds out that she not only has a long-lost dad, or had a long-lost dad, her dad has passed away, but he left her not only a ton of money, but he also was a prince in this Irish fairyland that she somehow gains access to. And now that she doesn't have to work because she has all this money, she starts writing books for fun, and she publishes 2 series. And of course, because it's books, there's like a minor war. And then again, happily ever after. Like, I don't want to fight in the war. Sure. I just want to live in her cute little like double world publishing books happiness.
Because we're, people, not book characters, a lot of the strife that happens in these, like, oh my gosh, I'm a fey princess, could really be resolved much faster.
True.
By not trusting, like, the guy with a monocle and an evil laugh and, like, banishing him immediately or whatever, you know? Like, we could probably skip that.
And probably we read enough books that we'd be really good at calling out all of those.
Yeah.
We'd be like,
it's very rare
no,
that I'm
you guys. This guy is always the bad guy.
You're not gonna end up with your best friend. Stop trying, okay? It's gonna be that guy that looks scary with the scar, the tattoos.
But he's gorgeous, so it's okay.
And he's not really bad. He's a great dude.
He's just a little morally gray.
He's been protecting his whole family this whole time.
Yeah. Jeez.
I like that one. That was tougher than I thought it would be. All right. That one went over 2 minutes as well. It was 4 minutes, though, so technically it was 2 minutes each. We can stretch the rules. It's our game.
What is something you're curious about?
Start the timer. Everything and anything about why people choose to do the things they do.
Ooh, so psychology.
Yes, fascinated. I am also fascinated by body language. I am fascinated. I want to talk about, this is sort of a tangent, but I want to talk about something that I've always had in my head as a theory. And there might be scientific studies out there that prove me wrong. I just never look for them because I don't like to be wrong. I have always thought that anger isn't a real, legitimate emotion. I understand that we all feel anger at times. I have always thought that anger stems from something else. So...
Aliens?
Aliens, exactly. And the Terracotta Army and Stonehenge. No, I always feel like it's a reaction to another emotion.
Ooh.
So if you get mad at your kid for climbing a tree too high, you're not actually mad at them or angry that they climbed the tree. You're scared they're going to get hurt. You're not actually mad that your grandma died. You're sad that your grandma is gone. Mm-hmm. And, I've put a lot of thought into this, but my worldview is my worldview, so there are probably ways to get around this thought process. But it is something that I've thought about a lot, and it really fascinates me because anger is probably our most destructive emotion.
100%.
It comes from, you're not mad at your neighbor for having a boat. You're jealous that they have a boat and you don't. Now, there are like your neighbors dumping garbage in your lawn. Yeah, you're angry about that. But where else could that be coming from? You're annoyed that you have to clean up your lawn. You're upset. You might be worried about your kids or pets getting into the garbage.
You're confused as to why your neighbor would do, like, did I do something to upset him?
Defensive, maybe, even. I'm really defensive that my neighbor might be mad at me because I did. I mean, I'm very guilty of when someone seems like they're mad at me, I start building up my defensive walls about, well, they deserved it because they, fill in the blank here. So sometimes it's stretching it, and I've gone over my 2 minutes, but I just find this really interesting, and it has always really been something in my head. And I talk to Ryan about it sometimes, and we've discussed it. He kind of agrees with me. He's like, it's pretty on point. I mean, you can almost always pull in a different emotion.
Absolutely. Well, and what a great way to talk to your kid about emotions and anger. Because I 100%.
92%.
Yes, 92%. I believe anger probably does exist.
Sure.
But I do believe that 90% of the time it is some underlying issue. And it's Zach and I talk about it all. Zach as a man has a very hard time expressing what emotion he's actually feeling.
I was wondering where you were going with that, and I was like,
Zach,
I might roll my eyes soon.
No. He most often presents with anger, which we see in what's Inside Out.
Yes.
The dad is
he's controlled by anger. Yeah.
And so we do talk a lot about, like, okay, but why are you angry about that? And a lot of times it's because either he doesn't understand why somebody would do it that way, or it embarrassed him, or it hurt him, or it made him sad, and instead of being able to be like, well, that hurt my feelings, he's angry about it.
Yes. And I never want to invalidate someone's anger. I feel anger. It's never that. It's really more just of a hypothesis of anger. I mean, what is it? It's just something I've always thought of. It is a valid emotion, but there's almost, I think most of the time you could pick something out of it that has triggered the anger.
Oh, for sure.
And
I love that.
Yeah, it's really weird. And so, yes, that's why I'm interested in psychology and your brain chemicals and why you're doing this and why you're thinking it. And that's what I spend a lot of my time thinking about. I am a freak.
That's amazing. I forgot what I'm curious about.
I'm sorry.
I got so into
now
that
it's that.
I had one brief blip where I was like, oh, I could talk about that. And then I got really into what you were curious about. And now I'm curious about anger.
When I was younger, when we were in high school, I actually researched and printed a ton of research on body language and what things mean. And I still have that around somewhere just from...
Did you watch the show Lie to Me?
Yes.
That was a good one for body language.
Oh, it was so good.
And facial expressions.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't surprise me that my path of career has circled back into that world again. So
I remembered mine.
Good. Yeah. Let me see. There's some good questions on here.
The rest of them are awful.
Terrible. Do better. What is your favorite memory?
Oh, goodness.
I know. It's so big.
2 on the spot. I got to think about it for a minute.
I think you could almost break them up into different categories, like childhood, then maybe like teens, early adulthood, and then kind of like nowish. Because I feel like otherwise it's too big.
Like, how do you pick one moment out of 38 years of moments?
Yeah. Because I can remember a lot of really great moments, like with my grandparents, and really just meaningful moments that actually mean more now that they're gone. I used to make my grandma read the Gingerbread Man book every single time I was there. She would try to skip pages, and I knew I couldn't read, but I knew the story well enough that she'd skipped a page, and she hated that book. But that's a great memory for me, taking that book out. And I was little. I mean, it was before I could read, and I'm not trying to brag, but I did catch on to reading pretty early. And so there's that. I have a lot of fantastic memories of you and I as teenagers, just either being stupid. I mean, we were always
laughing until 2 o'clock in the morning,
getting in trouble constantly,
can't breathe,
playing family, except it was wrestling family. And then you get into like your early 20s, and I have great vacations. And then now, and you put a kid in, and every memory I make
goodness.
with her is my new favorite memory.
Yeah, you were like, a favorite memory. I was like, I don't know, Connor's born. Like, I have 7-8 years of...
I will say Carly's birth is not my favorite memory. By any means. Mm-mm. But I have so many great moments after that she was and is still all the time.
So maybe like a twist on the question.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
What are some of your core memories?
Yes. Oh, that's a good one.
I love the movie Inside Out.
Same.
I think it has done so much for helping people speak their emotions.
Especially no shade, little boys who are taught sometimes not to emote because they're boys. And
boys don't cry.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and it shows. I don't know. I think it's great. The second one, there were a couple moments that made me bawl. Like they say something. There's a moment where they say something about, well, maybe as you get older, you just don't have as many joyful moments. And I was like, it's
true. Why? Is it true, or do we just have like the joyfulness increases, so you find it harder to, like, when we. And I guess I think about it on the opposite spectrum.
Yeah.
Like, I think all the time about how, like, especially as a teenager, that gut feeling you would get if you did something wrong.
Yes.
Or if, like, you failed a test or your report card was bad. Like, that overwhelming dread that you had to go home and tell your parents that you messed up or you broke the door or the faucet or whatever.
The door was fixed.
And now... I don't ever have that feeling. Like, nothing in my life happens that is bad enough that I have that like, dreadful feeling. It would have to be, like... Okay, like when my dad got his cancer diagnosis.
Absolutely,
yes. That was the last time I had that overwhelming dread feeling. And even then, it was still, like, sad dread.
Right.
Because I already knew, like... I'm 38 years old. I know what cancer does. I know what the expectations are. I know what the treatment's probably going to look like. Like, I already had all this background information that even though I was feeling awful, it wasn't as bad as it was when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so I wonder if joy kind of works the same way. Like, Connor still...
has to be bigger.
Yeah. Connor still gets tons of joy from a funny YouTube guy.
That's why Christmas doesn't seem as magical.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're sort of the catalyst behind Christmas. You're making the magic. But also, it is still kind of magical. I still think, like... Oh, sorry, my nose is itchy. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. That's not what I think about. I still think...
My nose gets itchy when it's Christmas time.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's my favorite time of year. I still think of how... happy it makes me to walk into my house when everything's dark but all the Christmas lights are on.
Yes.
We sit from the moment I put those lights up in September through the rest of the year with those lights on every night.
You could just stop taking them down.
I did on my front porch.
What I do.
I bought lights that I figure everybody who drives by my house is like, take your lights down already. But I turned them different colors for the holidays. They were red, white, and blue for the 4th of July. Usually they're purple because that's my favorite color. But they were red for Valentine's Day. They're pastel-y for Easter. Yeah.
It's perfect.
I know. It's so
Technology is right on point for 13-year-old Bre that needed lights everywhere.
Carly's gonna have the coolest room because it's not only is it there, but it's cheap now too.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you $8 for one red light bulb. You can spend $8 on one light bulb that turns all the colors by
and you get a remote
speaking
control
to it.
or your phone that can do all the things. Ugh, we've very much lost the point here.
Memories are great.
I love memories.
I have lots of them.
That is a great... I mean, it also makes me happy. It makes me happy to think back on those, too. So...
I like... Connor and I will... Especially if we're doing something... We went out last weekend for his birthday and did a bunch of stuff. And I look at him sometimes and I'm like, buddy, I hope this is a core memory for you.
Yeah.
Because...
Sorry, I think my cat's coming.
I was like, who's up here? What's happening?
Don't worry about it.
Don't look at the door.
There's nothing there. Nothing.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
Oh, okay. This is a very difficult question because I am not very nice to myself. I talked 2 weeks ago about being kind, and I am working on it, and I'm telling myself nice things every day. But it is a very difficult one because if you came up and you told me something about me, I would believe you because I am very hard on myself. Mm-hmm. But I've always been a very bubbly, outgoing, exuberant person. I'm not a big people person. I usually am nervous, but I'm very good at hiding it. Mm-hmm. But people think I'm stupid because I am bubbly and goofy and silly.
I knew you were going to say that.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I've fought it all through high school. Yeah, people...
And I've never understood, because I feel like we're similar personality-wise.
Yeah.
But I don't get that the way you do. But I see it with you. Yep. I see people treat you that way.
Yes.
And it's always confused me because we were in a lot of the same smart classes. Like
we very
I think I might be better at math than you.
Oh,
but you're better at lots of other things than me. Like
academically, we were fairly even. I graduated with a step down in chords than you, but that's because I stopped going to school at one point. So.
Fair.
I mean, maybe I am stupid.
Nope, that was the ADHD.
Yeah.
All 80 of them.
So, yeah, that is, I'm not a stupid person.
Not at all.
Act silly, I act goofy, I am friendly, but I'm not an airhead, and I'm not stupid or vapid.
I would have gone more with airhead than stupid.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm not. I can be flighty, and that's the ADHD. But I also like things to be light and fluffy. Mm-hmm. And I try to bring people around me up because, well, selfishly, I don't want it to be down. And I don't like it when people are down. It sucks. Mm-hmm. So I am very...
Maybe that...
peppy.
I wasn't much more argumentative than you, but I was a little more argumentative than you in high school. Yeah. Maybe just having a little bit of a mean streak.
Yeah, maybe.
Changed how people... I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It always confused, like...
I'm not sure why. And maybe someone out there is like, oh, I could tell you why. But I can't put my finger on it. Except for the bubbly, goofy, sarcastic personality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. What about you? Misconception?
Both. That I'm healthy. People assume because I am tiny
petite.
that I am healthy. Or not only healthy, but very active.
Yeah.
People just assume I must be a runner, I must exercise all the time, like I must be super active, and I'm like, sure. Let's call it that.
I worked at an exercise place for a while.
Yeah. I worked out for a year. Not even, but no. That and I think this is something I do portray. People seem to think I have my shit together. That I have the ability to help them.
Sure.
And that's my fault. It's because, number one, I do want to help everybody. And I don't like to admit that I can't do something.
Right.
Or I don't want to I don't want to let people down.
I think that's something people miss about you is your stubborn streak.
True.
Because you're very stubborn. Mm-hmm. Like, potentially more stubborn than I am. And
just about weird things.
People don't buy that about you. Like, I've never had anybody say, "Oh, she's stubborn." You wouldn't. I've never told anybody you're stubborn either.
Right.
But I guess the opportunity has never come up. For
sure.
But yeah, that's that whole thing of I'm not going to admit that I can't do something.
Yeah. That and it obviously has worked out well for me. But the stubbornness of I can't fail because that will show weakness.
Right.
So it looks like I'm like a go-getter that's like achieving things. But really it's like, I don't know, I told like one person I was going to do this. So now I have to do it.
Right. Exactly. And you have used that to your advantage before.
Yeah. I mean,
you've said things to me and been like, I'm telling you this because I need to do it, and I won't if you... And actually, I'm a horrible person to hold you accountable.
You are. You don't.
It's like when we go shopping together. If anybody ever wants to shop
money,
with me,
you don't force me to get things done.
If you're ever trying to save money, do not take me shopping with you.
Or
not even that you have to buy me
talk
stuff.
to her.
But sorry, Amazon link to Bre right now. Have you checked the auction website this week? Okay, that was a tough one. Mm-hmm. Oh no, it was an easy one, but it's still like
it was a personal one.
Yeah.
Good job, Ryan.
What a jerk.
Bad job, Ryan.
Yeah.
Round Ryan.
Okay, this one's a good one and also very difficult. What is something you've learned recently that has changed your perspective?
Ooh.
That anger is not a real emotion.
My best friend just recently told me
that my best friend's not an airhead.
It's changed my whole view of her. We've been doing this podcast for a year, and I thought that was her part.
You're so stupid.
That's how I made myself look better.
Exactly. I looked so... go get him.
Yeah. What was the question?
What's something you've learned recently that has changed your perspective? I'm gonna just butt in since you're obviously thinking. And mine isn't exactly recent, but the McDonald's lady. Yeah. That is something that has majorly changed my perspective on that situation.
I kind of all of those. I've mentioned it a ton of times, but there's a podcast called You Should Know.
Yes.
Where they basically just go back through, big news stories or big things that happened when we were children, and they're like, but, the dingo ate my baby.
Right,
lady.
Yes.
Who actually had her baby eaten by dingoes.
Yes.
And the whole country just laughed at her.
Yep.
And we still, people still don't know. So... my whole last episode, corporate propaganda and media propaganda, and
yeah, it is a big perspective changer.
Mm-hmm.
So we're basically out of time now.
This was awesome. I think we probably only got through half of those questions.
Oh, I think so. And
we already have another episode planned where we could do real topics instead of just back and forth. But we could do this again. This was great. Good idea.
We did it. Yay. This has been Dungeons and Dopamine Podcast.
What?
That was aggressive.
That was aggressive. You can listen to us anywhere you stream podcasts.
You did that wrong.
On YouTube.
Sorry. Only because you should have said, listen to us anywhere you stream.
Listen to us anywhere you stream podcasts.
The vibe is rage.
On YouTube.
The vibe is anger.
Anger.
Stemming from confusion. Because why are we doing this? I'm sorry. You did everything right.
Except call this episode 34.
Yeah, that, yes. Fact. You can support us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/DungeonsDopamine. Dungeons Dopamine. No one listens to that part anyway, obviously.
It was like one of those pharmaceutical commercials where at the end they just rattle off a bunch of stuff really fast and you're hoping you don't listen to it.
Side effects include, but are not limited to, diarrhea, corns.
Those are awful.
Those are the first two things I could come up with. And then I was going to go with death, but I lost it at corns, and I'm going to keep it together.
If you'd like to avoid diarrhea and corns, you can support us on Patreon. No,
I already said that one.
Oh my goodness.
But you can if you want to not have corns and diarrhea.
Please go find us on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit, and give us something else to talk about.
And you can reach out to us on any of those or at dungeonsdopamine@yahoo.com.
She's pretty sure.
I am too airheaded to know for certain.
Thankfully, Dungeons and Dopamine is edited and published by Argyle Pigeon Productions. Because someone has to clean this
Pigeon
up.
just died.
Okay, thanks. We love you.
Bye.